I'll start off with a question. Really, any of you could answer this, but based on the messages that were spoken about today, I would say this is probably more geared towards Luch and Justin. The question is, have you guys ever had it when somebody comes up to the booth, they see your gorgeous, amazing display, they see this gigantic cookware set, or they see the ultimate set, and the first thing they do is they go, how much for the set, right? And you're always kind of like, So I'm curious, is there anything that you guys do to handle that right off the bat? Or like, how do you redirect them and get them into like an actual pitch, if that's something that you feel like is a possibility?
Yeah, I think it comes down to first, like Curtis talks a lot about. It's like identify what. Like, yeah, are you looking for something specific in particular? Kind of identify what they're looking for, and then kind of just go for that. Like, are you looking for like a set? Are you looking for, a specific piece? So I think it helps identify what they're looking at first. I guess for your question, they're like pointing at like a specific set. I guess you're asking if they're pointing at a specific set on the table. Is that kind of what? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's identify what they're looking for, and then at that point for me, it's just dive into like the pitch. Yeah, we have 3 main sets, and then just kind of like dive into the pitch like you normally would.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think usually the folks that would come up and ask, something that direct are a certain type of client type. We call them, if any of you are familiar with the Bolt system, they're probably a bull customer. And so they're very direct. They just want to get like straight to the point. So I think what I would do, and I actually learned this from Ray, believe it or not, he's really good at this, is basically addressing that straight from the front and being like, oh, cool. So usually when someone comes up and asks about price first, it means to them that price must be the most important. Is that the case for you? And it almost like takes back the power in the frame and puts it in your hands, where they're like, well, no, actually, like, we're looking for a good set. And they start justifying, like, no, it's actually not the price that's most important to me. It's about finding something quality or finding something to replace what I have at home now. So it just gives us control back to then lead right back into our pitch.
Love that. All right, who's got some questions in the crowd? I can't see. Okay, there we go.
Thanks, Eileen. Brett, this is for you. It looks like you get a ton of interaction with your clients. What I found in my marketing and the thank you notes and the Band-Aids, typically I'm only getting responses like, oh, we just got this gift, thank you so much, from my gold clients. I don't get a lot of responses back from like the thank you note and the Band-Aid unless they use it, right? They get stitches or something, but it just seems like you have way more feedback consistently throughout all the layers, not just your best people. So I'm curious if you do anything extra special, or is it just because your social media? What are you doing to just create all of that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. It's layered. So since I started in 2013, did full-time 2016, transitioned to that, and I started my group in 20. But obviously some of that plays into it, but just being consistently there, active, those check-in calls during COVID were great. Like, just, hey, I'm not calling to sell you things, just want to see how you're doing, all those types of things. But again, having those good notes, having those conversations, building the rapport, whether it's at an in-home appointment, at the event, at your service event, just knowing that you're not just there to sell because you are there to serve. People will appreciate that because you're more of a friend and a colleague that they just buy knives from than their salesperson. And one of the things with the engagement is, it's a little thing, but if you are doing social, or if it is something in an email or text, always put a call to action. As an example, like, let's say I'm posting a pasta dish, nothing cut related, nothing sales related. Looks awesome, cool. What's your go-to pasta? What's your favorite steak from posting something? Like, just something at the end to get that engagement, because the more that they engage, the more that they'll see your posts, the more that everybody else will see the posts because of the algorithms and the way social works. So in general, just being there for every different reason, whether it's email, text, social, voice drop, regular calls, postcards, catalogs, they should be seeing you everywhere. Yeah, some of it's can be sales, but the rule is value, 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 sale, value, 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 sale, and your customers will appreciate you much more for that.
Love the 3-to-1 ratio. Big thing we teach here. All right, who's next? Over here?
It's me, actually. Hi, it
Just
is I.
kidding.
On this,
see.
it's JPB. You can hear me like that. Hi. This is a question for awesome message, everybody.
Oh, there you
Hey,
go.
Stacy. Brett, question for you, and I know I ask this a lot, but I don't think, because I've worked with you. Just so you guys know, I had a 12K day, and I thought I was doing well, and next to me, same day, he had a 22K day. Okay? So my question for you is about the wish list. And I know you probably can't do the whole thing that you do on your iPad with the wish list, but I can almost guarantee you that most people do not understand what that is and what that looks like. Are you able to either role play a section of it or kind of just explain how that looks so that they can see how you're utilizing that wish list either to close or to build up the wish list on your iPad?
Yeah, definitely. So with everything being so technologically advanced and all that stuff, like I said, I love those paper copies, but customers, they'll lose them. Something happens to them. They get wet. They go in the garbage. I know if I have it, then we'll both have it no matter what. So like if I'm at the booth, again, I have my Apple Pencil. I'm literally just marking off what they have. It's such an easy way to upgrade customers at the booth. And then I could just delete it and start fresh on the next customer. Screenshot it, save it, send it to them, update them, whatever it might be. But the way I'm using it typically at the booth, a lot of time more so is for upgrades. And for anything they don't get, it does go on the wish list. So like I said, I'm strategic with my notes. When customers place orders, obviously they don't get fed right through to Fast Action. It takes a few days or a week depending on when it ships. But I have a section in my notes app that has, it's called customer wish lists and customer notes and wish lists. So I'll put what the event I met them at, what we spoke about, any notes I have for them, what they bought, and what's on their wish list. So that stuff could get transferred over every couple weeks or every month. So I know all my stuff is up to date. Does that answer that for you?
It does. My only other PS on that is how you do that, the green dots versus the other dots.
Sorry. So
You
if
get
I'm
what
at
saying?
the booth and be like, hey, so everything you have, everything you told me is actually marked in green, and the stuff in blue is the things that you like or want. Like I said, if it's in blue, it doesn't mean you're necessarily buying it. So I give them that little out, or I give them like a little bit of a note saying, hey, you're not confirming this. You're not giving me a credit card for all the stuff in blue, but the stuff that you like or would want now, today, or in the future, we're going to put in blue. And if there's anything that you feel like, hey, I want to do this today and keep and like save the rest, that stuff will stay on the wish list in your personal account with me. I've been doing this for 10 plus years. I'm going to be around. I'm not one of the college kids that does it for a few weeks and disappears. So you have a full-time service and sales rep with you also. So that makes them feel great about still getting something today, even if it's not their full wish list that has the ultimate upgrade, a dedicated cookware set, a flatware chest, and 7 gadgets. But all that's going to be for me in their account. I'll send it to them so that they have it. And then, again, I just on Tuesday during the break, somebody wanted to get 2 steak knives. And I was like, well, you have 3 spots still missing at the top of your ultimate block. We still need you to get you that petite slicer, the salmon knife, and the boning knife. I was like, you want to do that too, just so everything's filled? And it was that easy, just because I have great notes.
All right, back there.
Okay, I'm Quentin, and for Brett, in terms of your giveaways, do you have anything like how do you determine who goes into the giveaway? Is it like anyone who placed an order? Is it just all of your customers, or like who gets to be a part of that?
So for those ones specifically, it's usually just doing a post where I'm asking for the engagement. So I was like, hey, like and comment on this post, whatever it might be. Like, let's say for one of the ones that I did for, let's say Christmas. Like, I'm giving away some red stuff for Christmas. What's your favorite Christmas movie? Got like 100 plus comments. So if they liked it and they commented it, that's their entry ticket. Now, I have a drawing wheel. I don't have an assistant typically, but my sister, I'll pay her to do that. So I don't have to do the admin work. She gets some money. It's easy. So that just determines who goes in there. But it's different things depending on what I'm doing. But that's pretty easy.
Looks like we have over here. Somebody. Okay.
Hey guys, this is Scott from the Western region in San Diego. My question is for you, Luch. Regarding your drop down, I'm hoping to dive down into that a little bit and have you build some conviction with me in the steak knives. Also, a question regarding your setup. So the homemaker block is going to be out there with the tables in front. I'm seeing some reps doing just the basic homemaker and not showing table knives. I figure that you do show the homemaker with tables, but if you could confirm that, and then how to, in my mind, each steak knife, 87, now 91, so it's gonna make the price like high, and we're dropping down. Price high is good for us, but customers maybe not buying Ulti because of affordability, so your drop down is like very still high in price, 13 piece with steaks. So how does that just relate in regards to how expensive, the steak knives are?
Yeah, so good question. So for me, it's everything is always geared towards like the steak knives is always what they're showing. Like when I'm handing them, they're cutting leather. It's always with the steak knife. So everything always kind of starts with the steak knife. In my mind, for us, it's easy to say, oh well, like it's more expensive. So maybe they can only buy the table knife because it's expensive. It's like at the end of the day, customers will buy what we focus on. Focus goes, energy flows. So if we show them the steak knives, and if the demo's good enough, and we're strong with the pitch and handle the objections, they'll buy what we show them. So for me, it's just everything is shown with the steak knife for the reason because I'm still painting the picture of the kitchen. I know that the talk was geared towards Ultimate, but even before that, it's like there's a kitchen intro, so I'm painting the picture. And for me, it's the idea is I want them they're either going to buy the flatware today or they're going to buy it at some point in the future. So I'm using the table knives for the flatware. I'm saving that for the flatware. That's why it's Ultimate with steak knives, the homemaker with steak knives, the 13-piece with steak knives, and then just the 5-piece, with no steak knives. So that's kind of like my progression of all that. I don't know if that answers your question.
Do you show the homemaker with the homemade +8?
With the steak knives, yep. So I show that, again, with the book it's set up, it's the Ultimate with steak knives, Signature with steak knives, and then the homemaker with steak knives. Now, yes, like you were saying, when you have the homemaker, most people, it's a homemaker +8, and it is table knives. But again, it's very rare that sometimes they'll bring it up like, oh, is it these guys? Like, no, you actually get it with 8 of these ones. Now, if you want it with the smaller ones, then I kind of use that to explain that, there are 2 options, and then explain that here's why most people get the steak knives is because eventually, and I use that moment to actually pivot and plant seeds for, again, flatware, bundles, and kitchens. It's like, oh, by the way, we do have spoons and forks, and here's why people get the steak knives in their knife sets because these are in your silverware. Right, so then it's even using that to kind of take away attention from the table knives in the set, but focus that attention on the silverware at that point. So again, it comes down to what you're promoting to the customer at the end of the day. Just you're the professional, you know your pitch, and it's people will buy what you focus on. So
Off of that, Luch, in your display, I know you mentioned about you keep the homemaker under the table.
yeah.
Is it just Ultimate with stakeout? Do you have Siggy with stakeout, or?
So yeah, it's a little controversial. I know the first time Seth saw it, he was like, "This is stupid. What are you doing?" And I was like, "Just hear me out." For me, it really honestly started with I need to, because so many people they use it as a crutch, right? And it's somebody asked the question at my roundtable. It's like, anytime somebody has someone gives a first pushback on an Ultimate, so many reps are like, okay, well, yeah, let me show you the family set. Let me show you the homemaker. It's stand strong on it. And for me, it's I'm going to sell more Ultimates, so I'm just only going to bring an Ultimate. I got to the point where I didn't pack it in my car. It was I wasn't going to use it as a crutch anymore. And I got to cool, I'm selling more Ultimates because this is all I have here and this is what I'm focused on. But at the same time, I'm still selling smaller sets. I'm still selling homemakers and signatures, but it's there. That's the only thing that's there. So for me, I've just been focused on that because it's on the table. But yes, I do have it underneath. And again, it's you don't have to. There's people that you can have the homemaker there still, but that's just I found that it forces me to focus on that so much more when that's all that's on the table.
Who else we got? Coco.
Yes, I have a question for Brett. I'm wondering if you can briefly speak to some of the strategies you use to driving customers and referrals to your Facebook group and how you've grown that over the last few years?
So I wish I had started it earlier. So if anybody's thinking about starting it, do it because you won't regret it. But I probably had a couple grand customers already in 2020. Now I have like over 4, somewhere around there. But my initial way to get people in, sent out a mass text with the link in it, saying I'm giving away a bunch of Cutco, free to join, all that. So that got like an initial nice number in there. Invite all my regular friends on Facebook. And then from there, when that stuff was in, when those people were in, you obviously have them invite family and friends. Try to get those, make incentives for them to invite more people. So I have 3,000 people in my group, but they're not all my customers. That'd be nice if they were. But there is some family and friends of other people I've never met. Some of those people I've bought. They've never even met me. I've gotten referred. So it's great. And again, I don't use my Facebook as like a sales tool. It just generates it here and there. So it's great. But other ways, it's in all my signatures of all my emails. It's on a QR code in my phone, on my booth display, all that stuff, just so it's easily accessible and so I don't forget it. It's just different ways to initially start. And then again, the way you're going to get more people in there is doing more giveaways. So just don't be stingy, give away good stuff, and people will engage, like it, appreciate it, and look forward to it all the time. And do the drawings live because it gives you that personality. If you have a significant other, have a pet, have kids, put them in there. I don't have kids. I don't have 17 like Dawid, but he does. He uses them, and it works. So use what you got.
Roger?
Hello, my name is Roger. This question's for Justin, and the question is, do you find most of your packages to either be upsells, or do you start at that package in the beginning? And closing-wise, what have you found to be more consistent?
Yo. Okay. Great question. Thanks, Chelsea. Yeah, so I would say, I'll occasionally get the clients that are like, okay, all this makes sense. We're doing a kitchen remodel, and then I can frame that where, like, the most important part of your kitchen remodel anyway is the things that you're actually using every day. Not to downplay, Miss Jones, your countertops and the granite and all the money and all the ideas and how beautiful your kitchen's going to look. That's extremely important. I think one thing that people do, by the way, on their kitchen remodel side is they try to just like bash that to sell Cutco now. I want to build that up. Like, that's extremely important. And because of how important that is, it's important for you to consider the things that you're actually going to use every single day forever. Those things are your knives, cookware, flatware, and it's actually why we built this Cutco kitchen as the remodel package. So occasionally, if I do that really effectively and someone's really tied in, they will just want to see the packages from the get-go. More often than not, though, what actually happens is they're like, okay, they might make a comment. We kind of need cookware. Maybe that's down the road, but we really want to do the knives today. So like, I'm listening to that, and I'm like, okay, I'm locking that in. They want to do that, but it sounds like knives are most important. Let's go to the knife set first. Let's pick out whatever knife set they should get. Ideally, as Luch would say, it should be an ultimate, no matter what. We get that confirmation there, and we make them feel extremely good about the decision to buy today and take action today. And we talk about the vision of how their life is now going to change because they own the knives. What I then find that's really key is I'll go back to, all right, so Miss Jones, and again, it's just eliminating the sales resistance and dropping these walls. It's like, I know cookware, you mentioned earlier that it's something that would probably be down the road just for fun. Doesn't mean you have to get it. Doesn't mean I'm going to hold you hostage here until you do. But since I know that you're eventually going to get it anyway, and it's something that's already on your radar, would you be opposed to just doing something crazy and just entertaining the idea of bundling both together just to see if I could do something extra special for you because you are here at the event today? And you're only going to do the knives once. I will share this, Miss Jones. Like, what's going to happen is you're going to absolutely love the knife set. Like, it's going to change. It's going to be one of the best, if not the best things you have in your kitchen. But then when you first cook that first meal, you're going to pull out whatever cookware you have, and you're going to notice it's just not the same as what I just saw at the booth with Justin. So Would you be opposed to just seeing if I could like build something special for you, put together a package that's like tailor-made for you, and it has everything you want? It's still not going to blow out your budget, but would you be opposed to at least checking it out and hearing what we have today? So I just like to make them feel comfortable with that, and then painting that picture of you are going to love the knives, but then when you go in your drawers and you start pulling out the can opener that's 20 years old, and you pull out that frying pan to cook eggs and it's scratched all to pieces, you're almost going to wish that you would have just said yes and done the bundle. So to save you the pain of having to do that later, because we can do it later, and if we all implement what Brett's taught us, like we're going to do it later in a very highly effective way. But if, since you're here and we're here together, would you be opposed to just checking it out? Really helps. Cool?
Awesome. All right, we only have 10 seconds left on that timer, so that about wraps up our Q&A. Give us a round of applause for these guys.